listeners all responsibilities for their opinions and gifts.
Kamala Harris claims the White House. Joe Biden sees dead people and waves to them. A couple of Ohio's high schoolers buck authority. The NHL Minute and MLB News and a whole lot more coming up in today's Wade and Carter Show. Should have looked at you. I'm good. A little verklempt. Go. Powder! You dabbed, but you didn't powder. Come on, man.
Man, when your partner has a stuttering issue and dementia,
Run for the White House.
you got Joe Biden. Yeah, no kidding. Good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
I'm
It's
very
my
well.
line.
Very well,
Sorry,
thank
I
you.
appreciate the dabbing.
Like to mix
beforehand.
it up. Like to mix it up a little. Every now and then I get to say, "How are you?"
I'm good.
God bless.
Thank you.
Shalom.
Went to bed before the Islanders won it in double overtime last night, so they extend their series to a sixth game. Now trail Tampa Bay 3-2. Dallas Stars sitting on the sidelines in Edmonton, awaiting the winner of this series to meet them in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I watched another episode of Yellowstone and only had one death in that episode.
That's
Only
all?
One shooting in that
They're
episode.
slacking this morning.
Yeah, they're really slowing down the Duttons.
Let's do this.
If Kevin Costner needed fencing material, he would go to Deerland Feed.
He would.
If Victoria was in Montana, Deerland Feed would be the Duttons' go-to place from the Yellowstone. No doubt about it. 75 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 93. It's basically yesterday 2.0. Be cloudy, spotty showers, but mostly just warm.
Yeah. But I think for the next few days, we're going to be like, for the next week, I think, I took a peek at the long-term forecast. I think we're going to be in the 80s.
Yeah.
Low 90s, high 80s for the next few days. So
Yeah, in fact, from now until next Wednesday, none of the predicted highs is higher than 89.
that's good.
There you go.
That's good.
T-Lat just said, "Where is the show?"
Did you not turn it on?
Oh, wow.
Too busy. Too busy dabbing my forehead
Man,
and making
you folks-
fun of me.
You folks on Facebook just missed a great intro. You'll have to go
Awesome
watch it.
intro.
Go to YouTube in a little while and watch it on YouTube. We were just chatting about Yellowstone. We just did the Deerland Feed weather. They get a double shot today. 75 degrees heading to a high today of 93 under cloudy skies. But Ash was kind of fumbling through his intro. It's worth watching. Go to YouTube and just click on the Wade and Carter page. And watch
Those who listen at 95.9 would have.
That's good. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of our listeners.
Yeah.
I'm curious. We had an interesting conversation with Lilo yesterday. He's our great friend. Make no mistake. These are great friends of ours. But he's also the kind of the station manager. He's the
GM.
He's the guy. And Ash and I took exception, kind of made fun of a PSA. And he did point out accurately, he goes, "Hey, it's not a political statement. It's just trying to get people to register to vote." We went back, we do this with him, and we bantered back and forth and agreed that maybe we made fun of it. But I'm curious if any of our Magic 95.9 listeners agreed with us. When I listened to it, it's not fair to say, but it's like I found it almost kind of racist. I mean, it's, "Hey, the king of Browntown," and it's kind of condescending. It's kind of like, I told Lilo, I felt like it was ghetto. It wasn't just because it's in English. It's not in Spanish. It's an English PSA. And it's not like it says, "Hey, to our Latino listeners, we encourage you. Register, get out to vote, let your voice be heard." Because that is the way that Ash and I feel as well. This deal was like, "Hey, we didn't move the border moved us." And like, it sounds ghetto, like it was like a parody of what's the great comedian, George Lopez. It was like a parody of George Lopez. And I thought, that's terrible. It's terrible. but the message is consistent. You've got to let your voice be heard, no matter who you vote for. Be educated, get registered, and get out and vote. So,
Greg Garcia says, "Good morning, Caballeros."
right, we're the Cowboys. That's exactly right.
Now, LeMayer, good morning. Johnny Houghton is in. Bobby Leister, Marvin Mickish, C.W. Bean, Judge Posey, good morning. Chris Conrad,
Good
David
morning,
Glass, Mike Bloschke.
Hello, Michael.
I know my beautiful wife Cheryl's checking in. Her name never pops up anymore. Neither does Dawn's. I don't know.
Neither does Dawn's, but let me tell you something. Today,
Patrick Strauss.
Today, our anniversary.
Is it really? Is it today?
Yep. Can you believe that?
16th. No, I can't.
3 years ago today. And I told her,
I remember where I
was
was
trying to coerce
on that
her into some activity yesterday. I don't even know what the activity was, folks. I said, hey, this is the last day of our 3rd year of marriage. She goes, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. I said, tomorrow we begin our 4th year. No, you're just trying to twist that around to get what you want. I thought, if you were just a little dumber. Didn't work. Did not work. But
good thing she's not a little smarter either.
right. Oh, she
might be gone.
She'd have never married me. But you were there. Brother Gary was there. Judge Zeller did the ceremony. What a great memory. We had a great time. Super. It was super duper terrific. How about that?
It was a good wedding.
T-Lat, what a blast. It's been a good ride. It feels like 30 minutes, you know? I mean, it really does. I don't have any regrets at all.
Or regrets?
Regrets. No regrets. Now, my life's done nothing but get better since I met Dawn Nicole. No doubt about it. Hers, not so much.
No,
but there's
but
no
now,
insurance for that.
Give and take in these things, right? Yin, yang.
Oh, we go to the gym and the trainer's like, give me one more set, Brent. And he like winks at Dawn. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know why my trainer asked about my life insurance. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe he just cares. Total familial counseling at the trainer level.
Maybe he's just trying to see how, what kind of insurance agent you are.
Sure. There's our friend AJ Lauterbach. Good morning, Sheriff.
Scott Snow checking in. Good morning to you. Scott Tomko. Michael Jolly checking in. Michael Jolly sent us a video yesterday that maybe we can get into and kick off the show with.
Which one was that? I got it. I saw it. Oh, your buddy, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden walking off an airplane somewhere.
And there's a guy
empty tarmac.
with an iPhone.
Empty tarmac.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe on the first step looks to his right, and he starts pointing and waving.
Nobody there.
And then the camera kind of follows down the stairs, and there's nobody. It's an empty runway.
It looks like the Texas Mile. You can look all the way down the runway. There ain't nobody there, man. And Joe's, hey.
So is he seeing dead people and waving to them, or is he just trying to?
He's a 40-year politician from D.C. with it. He's seeing photo op is what he's seeing. Yeah. He's an idiot. Do not vote for Joe Biden.
But if that doesn't show you a little bit how out of touch he is with technology and the fact that he's not aware that cameras are around him at all times.
Right.
But Johnny Hott will know this. There was a guy that we used to hang around with, Mike Ingerfield. And Ingy used to do that. We'd walk out of some place and he'd start pointing and waving like he was a celebrity. It was funny. It was funny then, but there was no intent of humor there.
I always wonder why when you walk out of here at 8 o'clock in the morning that you're waving at people down the hallway here at Magic and there's nobody here.
That's my tribute to Ingy.
Right? I like it.
But it's a joke. There was no joke with Joe. He was legitimately trying to make it look like he was waving to people.
The throngs of people that came to see Joe.
Yeah. Lisa Poole checking in. H.R. Mallory, good morning.
Hello, H.R.
Torrin Bales wishes you a happy anniversary.
Thank you. And
Bobby Leister says take her to Veracruz for Caldo.
You know,
anniversary Caldo.
I arranged some plans for this evening.
That's all you can say. Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
I just told her it's kind of redundant. I mean, it's a given. I said, be cute and be ready to leave the house at 5:30. So
right.
Got that going for me.
Rob Moore Knipling checking in. Brad Miner, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks
Justin Glass.
Thanks for all the anniversary. Well, make no mistake about it. I'm the one that's blessed. Like Judge Posey just says, you way over married, Brent. Exactly right.
Yep, both of us are guilty of that one, but that's okay. Jeff Fonseca says he remembers when you met her.
Yes.
Funny thing is, Dawn does not.
Right. T-Lat says, I love you more than I loved you then. That's because I added that accident rider to the, you know, it's funny. I'm going to tell you guys something.
It was very specific, though. If you step off a curb and get hit by a bus in San Antonio.
Yeah. Well, no, you've had this deal before. You've probably gotten it too.
Where are you going for your anniversary?
I can't.
San Antonio?
You've got like a little term life policy, and they send you a notice that, hey, look, for $20 a month, we'll double the value of that, provided you die in an accident. Well, when you start reading it, can't be skydiving. You can't be piloting a plane. You can only be on an aircraft if you're a paid passenger. So if one of my buddies that has a plane takes me up, no, not covered.
If you're paying him for the jet for the airplane fuel, would that count?
Maybe. It'd be a technicality. But the deal is
better have a receipt in your pocket when that plane crashes.
Exactly. And one of the things is you cannot be in an auto accident, whether as a passenger or the driver, where you're DWI.
Okay.
So can you imagine the scene? You have an accident. The insurance companies, whoa, seize everything, blood test. They're looking for a way to get out of it. Over 20.
What if the guy that hits you is a DWI?
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, and I mean this. You can't imagine a world without shared risk. You can't imagine a world without insurance. We all pool together, pay a little bit to the agent, a little bit to the company, a little bit for some real estate, a little bit for some taxes, and then you get your money back when something bad happens. But insurance,
in
folks,
theory,
insurance is a racket. And if you don't have the right guy to navigate those seas, you will drown. Ask VISD. They'll tell you. I told VI, you heard me say it here right after Harvey, when everything blew up and, we got a bunch of buildings that aren't covered. I said, they either got a cruddy agent, a cruddy program, or the board did a terrible job of managing the claim. Guess what? VISD had all three. They had all three. Agent didn't go to bat for them.
bad policy.
Bad policy. And the board was inept. And that's just the way it is. They had no clue what they were doing. They had no clue how to manage it. There's your problem. VISD still in a world of hurt from Hurricane Harvey. Big. They're at $20 million in dispute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sally coming ashore today, Mississippi, Florida area.
Hattiesburg, is that where it came
somewhere
in?
around there, yeah.
Did they get it right? They guessed that's where it was going to be. Is that where it came?
I think eventually they guessed there.
Yeah. And like as Cantori's getting blown down the beach, I think it's coming here. He's got his little slicker on.
I think he's in I think they stationed him in Pensacola.
Right.
Still in the blustery winds, but not quite.
At a little cantina,
Yeah.
a tiki bar. Like the candles aren't even blowing, they're just little flames.
At the Florida-Bama line or whatever they call that.
Right. Georgia, whatever.
It's not Florida, Georgia. It's like Florida-Bama or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to see where. Yeah, the Mississippi-Alabama border. Looks like is where it came in. So
There you go.
yeah, it's gonna put Hattiesburg. Got a
Lisa
friend there,
Poole,
that area, DJ Pulley, so hopefully he's doing well.
Lisa Poole has no regrets. I assume she's asking me.
Yeah.
They obviously no regrets.
No, we won't ask Don that question this morning.
No, let's don't bring any chance of any negativity into it. Yeah, see, I grew up with Janelle. She says I'm less of an a-hole. Yes, that's true. Thank you, Janelle. That's not even really a backhanded compliment. It's a statement of fact. I have to go with it. Good morning, caller. Thanks for bailing me out. We've been talking about my faults as a human being. We only have an hour. What a great gift to have City Council member Jeff Balknight call in. And Jeff, the reason I wanted you to call, and I appreciate you calling, I mean that. We're very blessed. We always give this disclaimer or this statement. Very blessed to have great access, both as Wade and Carter and as a community, to those who serve our community. My question to you is, walk us through, if you've got just, the disclaimer being, I didn't prep you for this. You didn't have time to get a timeline. Take us through the timeline of the Stoltz, Rio Grande, HEB, cul-de-sac, pickup and delivery. Just tell us all that stuff. What's the latest? Victorians were getting hit there, right? Crossing the street, Victorians got hit. They wouldn't walk down to the corner there at Laurent. They just decided to try to, 80-year-old grandma trying to skirt the traffic, and she'd get busted by an 18-wheeler, and everybody was like, oh, the tragedy. So now we've got to do something. We must do something as a city. Right. And didn't we discuss at that time, TxDOT was in for a chunk of the money, HEB was in for a chunk of the money, right? Or no, not HEB was not at that time, or what were they? Okay. Right. But it made sense because it was cheap, right? It was going to be cheap for the city at the time. So is it? Is it fair to say that at some point during this negotiation, discussion, enlightenment, that HEB got their feathers ruffled a little bit, didn't they? And said, right. You can see them one day literally raising that store and building
a
more
bigger and newer one,
bigger
yeah.
and newer one. Yeah, I can see that happening. It's in a great location. It serves a huge part of the community.
And the land they've had forever, so it's paid for. I said they've had the land forever, so it's paid for. So, I mean, you would assume, but
Right. Okay, so that's, yeah, okay, so we're going to have now what's going to be, there's going to be a light, what's the final iteration? It is going to be Stoltz is going to go through now. Okay, so there won't be two entrances on the Houston Highway. They'll close that one that kind of goes right in front of the building, and they'll move it to the back of the building, if you will. Okay, I'm with you. And folks, you following that?
That makes more
We're
sense.
moving away from Laurent. You'll have another entrance at essentially the back or the north, or I call it east, but the north end of
northeast. We'll compromise.
Northeast end of the store. All right, so and you're happy with that? That works out for you? Sure would have saved a bunch of money, wouldn't it? Would have saved a bunch of money, no matter who's.
You mean like cities, like other cities around the world expect their pedestrians and citizens to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because of COVID. Are there going to be medians down that road like there are on coming on Navarro? Okay, all right. So you, in theory, you could walk out to the island, walk on across with the next light or whatever. Seeing folks, the dilemma there is that you can't on foot carry enough groceries for a week. So you're going to have a constant stream of people. It's going to look like little ants going to an ant pile. So I think it's a very dangerous proposition, no matter how they do it. Now we're encouraging people to cross that street.
I think, well, the lack of pedestrian savvy in this town, I think you're going to see people crossing there just because there is a light, thinking, well, there's a light, cars are going to stop for me. Unless we start educating people on how to actually
weed them out.
Well,
I guess weed them out over time. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I think an officer ought to sit right there in a recliner that he gets from Chestnut Furniture. Just sit right there and go, "You come here."
But now you're punishing the poor who can't drive and have to cross an azalea.
You got to do it.
No, because that was part of the cry from some people. Well, we got people here who can't afford it.
You know how we know that Jeff Bouknight is really? I mean, he's selfless. He's just trying to help his community. Because the street in front of his business sucks. And you know what? It ain't getting done any faster just because he's a city councilman.
It'll be the last street fixed.
The last time I went down the street over there, I was like, curses, drats. I hate you, Jeff Bouknight, as I'm going in front of his business. Yes, sir. You would think, I know at some point you've seen that fascinating equipment, and it is this fascinating. They put a piece of equipment on the rails, and as they go along, there's a crane that it lifts it up. There's a thing that kicks out the old railroad ties. There's a thing that automatically puts in the new one, and if they want to, they can put down new rail behind it, all with one piece of equipment. It's about 100 yards long. You know what I'm talking about? There ought to be a way. Now, I'm not saying that we can afford to do it. There ought to be a way that you have a big piece of equipment that on the front, it's got one of those things that churns up the old asphalt. It goes into a hopper. Behind that, there's a hopper with the new asphalt. Behind that, there's a big old heavy roller wheel that pads it down. And you should be able to lay that stuff like Christmas ribbon. You know, you should be able to. We have the base issues in town. I mean, we understand the issues in Victoria, but yes, sir. They really did.
Good.
That'll be nice. You can just take your helicopter back and forth to work. I know how it is. You'll be all right.
Till I figured out the medians were going in, I was questioning why they're putting that light there at, I don't even know what that cross street is, right behind the car dealer and, yeah, the old Wells
Yeah.
Fargo there. But now it makes sense with a median going in. You're going to have a light there in order to turn left. So, okay. Okay. All right. That even
I
makes
like
more
it.
sense.
So when Raleigh came in, I went and listened to Raleigh's State of the City address. I thought he did a fine job. I thought that I loved the handout. I have no doubt he borrowed some talent from Jesus Garza to get that handout done. And it was very, very informative and very well done. Did he come in? Was he a little gloaty the other night? Like, yeah, things are good. Did he come in, or did he come in and just, scared and nervous? Yeah, dude, it was on Tuesday night, though. I mean, he should be basking in the glory of a great State of the City address. Yes, sir. Yes, y'all have done a great job. Gilbert was there. What I love about Gilbert is when the questions come up, well, can we do this? Hey, y'all can do whatever you want, man. Just tell me what to put in there. That's y'all's deal. Y'all can do it. I can't tell you if it'll cash flow, but y'all can do whatever you want. I love that. He's like, hey, don't blame me. Don't get me on the record for this one. Yeah, Gilbert Reyna, folks, does a great job.
Pretty good finance guy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jeff, we appreciate your time.
You clearing that up for us. So thank you very much.
Do you have any idea when they're going to start? When are they going to start? Do you have any idea? We'll get back to us when you have time, and we appreciate your availability.
All right, good.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate
Take
it.
care of
Bye-bye.
yourself. So that's Councilman Jeff Balknight, and it is, it's before the bottom of the hour, 7 o'clock in the morning, and he said, hey, I'll come on if you want me to clarify something.
BJ Nelson says we need more education for jaywalking, and it's not on the state test, so it's not taught.
Yeah, it's almost like,
it almost needs to be at least a day's worth of in elementary school, the middle schools, and the high schools, and they can teach it.
Well, it can't be much easier. Like when you're downtown in Victoria, and if it's not time for you to cross, there's a big orange hand going, stop. And if it's time for you to cross, there's a timer, 12, 11, 10.
And a light with a dude walking.
Pick up the pace, Grandma.
Torrin Bale says people in this town don't stop for buildings. How are they going to stop for people?
Caleb Shaw, the Caleb Shaw
Sorry.
Award.
Yeah. That one worries me. We're making changes because we've had a couple of issues along that stretch of highway.
Right.
I think we're going to see more issues because we made changes.
But I'll tell you, I have to give credit. I was totally against it. More lights bother me. I don't want more lights. But I'll tell you that I had to sit and listen to my friend Ricky De La Garza, and Ricky just said, he goes, you're not thinking about the dense population right over there. There's a large population of folks, many of whom don't drive, many of whom have been walking to that HEB since that road was only 2 lanes and a median, or 2 lanes and a left-hand turn lane. And they've gotten older and the road's gotten wider. And if you want to save Victorians' lives, it's time to do something. And you know what? When I thought about it like that, we all probably need to slow down, look for pedestrians, look for bicyclists, and just, chill out a little bit. So I'm fine with the project. What I was concerned about was that originally the project was primarily funded by TxDOT and then by HEB. And somehow along the way, the city irritated HEB. And HEB said, well, fine then. Instead of us donating this and giving you that in return, we're going to sell you those 2 acres. And the number got exorbitant. Exorbitant? The number got big. The number grew. And HEB flexed.
As big as that word you can't pronounce.
Yeah. And HEB flexed a little muscle, and which, Good for them. I mean, it's what makes it all work. Negotiations. So one thing you can't negotiate your way to better Mexican food than Veracruz.
No,
Just
sir.
get in there. Get in today.
It's called on Wednesday today.
Hot sauce, guacamole. These weeks fly by so quickly in the middle of all this chaos with COVID and kids going back to school and football practice. It seems like every other day is called a Wednesday, but it's not. Today is called a Wednesday. So get in there today. I want the caldo de res. It's got beef. It's got vegetables.
They don't skimp on any of the
It's
ingredients in there
fantastic.
either, and it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. There's Arthur O'Brien checking in. Good morning, sir. He's checking in at 5:30 in the morning from Sacramento. Think
We
about
appreciate that.
That's how bad things are in California. Trying to find a sane voice, you've got to seek across multiple
Halfway
states,
across the country to get
multiple
it.
time zones. He's got it. Razor IT Solutions. I talked to JP Hull. Excuse me, this is my impersonation of the VEDC. JP's got big news. I can't talk about it, but if I could, it's big. I'm telling you, it's big. I can't talk about it, but if I could, closer than we've ever been. Big.
Huge.
Yeah, but still has time for you. You need to study analytics, algorithms. I asked him, and he's going to come on the show next week. We talked about why Oracle wants to own
TikTok.
an American TikTok and the algorithms that are associated with. And apparently, and JP will get into the nuances of this, but this is what Razor does to give you an idea. You click on a video that some schmo somewhere makes a video about eating ice cream, and you click on it. Then TikTok suggests 3 or 4 videos for you to watch. Depending on where you go, are you going to dudes? Are you going to ice cream? Are you going to slapstick comedy? Whichever one you pick, then it picks another one. And it follows your mindset and then sells that information to people that might want to market to you.
So then in the middle of the videos, up pops an ad of something you might like.
Right. Bluebell may pop up. Now, JP says
It doesn't have to make me want to buy it.
that Microsoft wanted to own that in order to advertise Microsoft products. And that made sense. Oracle, not so much. And they're in the database business. So that it's really, I think at the end of the day, you're going to see China invest a bunch of money in Oracle, and then Oracle sell to
If they don't
somebody in China. There you have it. But Razor IT Solutions, that's what JP
I think it's still
knows.
got to go through the Foreign Investment Committee or something review, so it's not a done deal yet.
The Atzenhofer dealership since 1926, Victoria's dealer. It's just that simple. They've been here forever. Ed Atzenhofer started in 1926. We went through the Greasons. Now the Tommy Taylor era is here. Mr. Greason's still there. Not taking any of his thunder.
No.
But Tommy Taylor is
He's
the
handed
future.
that key in the mornings to
You know,
get things rolling.
And Tommy's really a young man.
Yeah.
You know how long he's been there? Like 13, 14 years.
Has he been there
started
that
when he was
long?
8.
Oh, there you go. That explains it.
People ask me why I didn't marry Dawn the first time. I'm like, she was 11.
Yeah.
You know? The Atzenhofer dealership, Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Atzenhofer.com. You can buy online. You can shop online for sure. I do it all the time just to see what's on the used car lot. They've got some cool stuff
Yeah,
over
they
there.
do.
If you're looking for a four-wheel drive pickup, go buy Atzenhofer now. And do it at Atzenhofer.com. Do it on company time. Just sit there and scroll.
They had a great Jeep that I don't see anymore, like last
That
week.
yellow
one. Yeah, it's
It was
gone.
like cheap.
And it was, yeah, and it's gone.
White Trash Services, BJ Nelson, Scott Nelson, the Nelsons, they've got family there. They got friends there. They probably have somebody there they don't like. If you're listening,
550-1826 is the
if
number.
you're listening, straighten up. 550-1826, White Trash Services, 6-county region, Holiday Beach, Rockport, Reno, Nevada, Las Vegas, Disney World. They got it all.
Lake McQueenie.
You need a roll-off dumpster? They're your home. Call them. There you go.
HR Mallory says cheap answer would have been to drop some concrete barriers.
Yeah, why don't everybody else does? They're
Yeah.
building a highway. They put down those little concrete things. Well, you ain't getting by them.
You ain't getting over them.
Can't too high, can't get too low, can't get under. Yeah, now you think about that. If you ran that down there, those people would walk down to the ramp and take a left.
They'd have to. That's the problem I see with these meetings. I don't think it's going to stop the problems unless you start issuing the tickets. And then you're going to have a bunch of people. You're criminalizing people just trying to make a live, just trying to live,
just because they're poor. Yeah. Yep. Andrew Young says, Brent, that may be legal in California. See, Andrew Young checked in to see what Jeff Bachnight had to say.
And make sure it was on. It was right.
Dr. Young, that shows a nice picture of you and your family on Facebook. That was touching. Nice stuff. You think of these guys as being public figures. I mean, Dr. Young, he, foot surgeon who works every day and has a family to manage. Good guy.
So what about the rally to the defense of Kamala Harris for this little slip up?
I'd love to hear, if you're a Democrat, help us decipher what Kamala is saying here, please.
The United States, the Biden-Harris administration will have access.
I had to back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, the Biden-Harris administration will have access.
Back a little bit more.
She had a slip there, see.
You're back. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, the Biden-Harris administration will have access.
You get the idea.
She backpedaled once she said a Harris administration.
She's back selling Joe Biden as the president of the United States.
A Joe Biden presidency with Barack Obama in office, that would have sounded so dumb, although Joe would have said it. But Kamala.
Well, and you could have excused Joe. He's elderly. He might have forgot who was who.
She's just conniving.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard that, and then the Dem, they cut that. That was spliced together. No, that was the audio from the video of her sitting there in front of a screen talking. There's no edit. It was a town hall. You may call it a Freudian slip, but I'm pretty sure. And conspiracy theorists are going to go nuts. But the Trojan horse that is Joe Biden.
Look at us helping people out. Dr. Young, our buddy James Kurth, was sparring the other night and did like a swing over, came up with this uppercut and tore his distal bicep tendon. He's willing to go under the knife with you at the helm. I mean, I know you're a foot guy, but surely, and I'm not calling you Shirley, but surely you could put him down.
Ankle tendon, bicep tendon. There's got to be some similarities.
I'm sure you could do it. You can make him better than he was before.
So the gaffes that have come out in the last 2 days, does this give anybody any confidence in a Harris-Biden administration?
Sorry, I was waving at some of our Phantom fans.
You got Joe off a plane, waving to people that don't exist.
Mask on,
I think Jeff Fonseca said maybe he was in New Jersey waving at that UFO that was.
Right. He saw one.
You see that video of the UFO in New Jersey? That was pretty crazy
James
stuff.
Curse is easy on the put him down part. That's just doctor talk for anesthesiology.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, Biden does say all the time, the thing.
That's his catchphrase when he doesn't know.
Say does that star, but you know the thing. You know the thing. He talked about I think he talked about the Lord's Prayer, the Ten Commandments. You know it. You know the thing.
Our Father who art in heaven, yada yada yada. You know the thing.
What did HR say about Biden? Because I think he's probably going to give you an insightful summary.
He's just a figurehead person to strategically place in front of the camera. He will not be running the country. He just has the best chance of getting the middle of the road votes. And I still go back to my original thesis on this pre-COVID. I think at that point the Dems were absolutely certain they were going to lose in November, and because if you look at when all the strategy was already made, right? They couldn't go back. It would have exposed the deals they made when they had everybody step down at Super Tuesday.
Yeah,
they wanted to give Joe his last third-time loser shot at the White House.
He's going to lose badly
because they knew nobody was going to beat Trump at that point.
So they served him up. Now
so they served him up
forever.
They served him up because they didn't want to really ruin anybody's who might have a legitimate chance in 24. So they served up Joe.
And that gives Kamala some exposure.
Yeah,
so
I don't know that she would have been the running mate, but maybe so again, and maybe it was part of the plan because she was the worst of the ones that were sort of left in December and bailed out because nobody liked her. Don't forget. Democrats couldn't stand her.
No, they wanted her gone. Bernie will be dead by 24.
Yeah.
And by the
yeah,
way,
Bernie won't be around. But
for a
then
guy who
COVID
cared so
hit.
much, where is he? He cared so much. All he did was care. Bernie was like the Episcopalian pastor. He didn't care what you'd done, where you'd been. He was just there to love, like the Episcopalians. No judgment, just love, open arms. Where's Bernie? Why isn't Bernie using his platform? He's a United States senator.
He has used his platform. He's serving up the
Support
Green New
Joe.
Deal. That's going to be his legacy if Joe ever gets in. If Joe gets elected, his Bernie's hand is in the Green New Deal. That's where his legacy, and that was his trade-off for this. But this was all a plan to basically mail it in, look like they were doing what they needed to do to lose in November because prior to COVID, they had no chance. The economy was going good. There were no issues with unemployment across any socioeconomic group, across any ethnicity. We had 99% wage parity in this country between females and males. I mean,
everybody's unemployment numbers were the lowest ever. Blacks, women, you name it. Caller, good morning. How are you? You know, and that's it. Are you replying? Okay, well, let's talk. Are you saying that are you talking about like when he called allegedly called Mexicans rapists and all that? Okay, the reality there was, and I know you probably heard this by now, he was talking about the MS-13 gang and the people that come over here. Oh, he was not. Fair enough. And the good news is you and I can both live in Victoria and get along great, whether he does anything for us or not. I don't need the president to do anything for any specific ethnic group. See, it's not his responsibility to take care of the American people. It's not his responsibility. His responsibility is to No, the state doesn't take care of you, bro. You work. You take care of yourself. It ain't his job to take care of you. You think Joe Biden's going to take care of you? That idiot can't even tie his shoes, man.
Where did he lie to you? I don't watch Fox News.
I don't watch Fox News. Fox News listens to us. Hey, Joe Biden's been in Congress 47 years. What's he done for you? Name one thing Joe Biden's ever done that you go, I'm voting for Joe Biden because he's a good man. What did Joe Biden ever do for you? Tell me that. Anything. Dad, there you go. Let's just roll the dice and see what he does. He tells you the truth. Well, I don't know. He's been there 4 years. We haven't had a mass shooting in over a year. We haven't had anybody attack our shores in his term. We haven't had anything but unemployment go down until COVID came around. Kind of hard to blame any one guy for that. Yeah, he hung up. Yeah. So I'm willing to have a civil discussion with anybody, and it's fine to call up here and just say, hey, you guys are wrong, because you know what? We've been wrong. And I'm not even defending Trump so much as I'm saying, if you can't give me something specific, a legit point the gentleman made. Trump does misspeak. Do I think that he consciously, intentionally lies to anybody? I don't think so when the cameras are on him all the time. Maybe Melania, but I don't think the people. Yeah. And we could be wrong. But, I mean, nobody can ever tell me. They hang up when you say, tell me something Joe Biden did. He said he accepts responsibility and tells you the truth. Quid pro quo come to mind? Ukraine, wheels up in 6 hours. Either you fire that guy or I'm taking my $1 billion and going back to Washington. Yeah. You think that guy's a good guy? Folks, if you think any of these politicians are good guys, you're an idiot. They're all bad people. So what do you have to rely on? The economy.
I don't know if they're all bad people. There's some good ones. Michael Cloud's pretty good.
Well, he just hadn't been there long enough. He hadn't been there long enough. If you're in Congress long enough, you'll compromise your values and leave a millionaire. That's the way it is. My daddy told me a long time ago, there have been some good men go to D.C. It's been a long time since I saw a good one come back. Why doesn't anybody in Congress impose their own term limit? They all talk about it. We need term limits. Why doesn't somebody go, I served 2 terms. I'm going back to my job. I'm a lawyer. I'm proud that I served you. They don't do it.
Because they can't make any money being just a lawyer.
There you
They have
have
to
it.
get into lobbying afterwards.
There you have it. If you're looking, he said something very poignant. We need him to take care of us. BS. You don't. You need to have a job. You need to work and take care of yourself. If you're counting on anybody in the federal government to take care of you, number one, you're an idiot. And number two, you're always going to be disappointed. The federal government will always let you down.
What's the biggest complaint? Every time something happens to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid benefits, they rarely go up. They get cut.
Yeah.
So how is the government taking care of
They
you
don't
when the
take care of
benefits
anybody.
get cut?
Look at the decades of problems we've had with the VA. We've got no problem loading up hundreds of thousands of young men, sending them all over the world for all these ridiculous sorties that we do. Then when they lose an arm or a leg and they come back here, they can't get decent health care. Don't tell me the government takes care of anybody, because it doesn't. Those ought to be Taj Mahal medical facilities.
Yeah, I've been in contact with somebody that I know listens to the show who's a former Army paratrooper who's having some issues with the VA, and if he doesn't see some resolution, we're going to tell his story on this show.
I'd love to, and I tell you, I find it. And caller, thank you for calling. He didn't identify himself, and that's fine.
No, I appreciate the call.
Absolutely.
But the thing that stands out with that call, I mean, you got a little bit heated, but
It's a two-way conversation.
No,
if you're just going to spew stupidity
But-
at me, I got to call it out.
but
That's what I do.
when you're asked to provide some facts and you can't,
Right. I mean, Donald Trump doesn't do anything. Oh, very quietly this week with no media coverage. Mr. Netanyahu was here. 4 people sat down, signed a peace accord that applies to Israel.
Yeah.
Nah, nobody cares about that. He ought to be a lay-down instant winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. Nah. We'll find a way to give it to, Harvey Weinstein for all of his great media work.
you look at what's going on in Israel and the peace accords that are historic. I mean, there has not been peace since the 1940s and the founding of Israel.
And there won't ever be lasting peace. I
don't know. They said
book.
the same thing about it. They said the same thing about Israel and Egypt, and that peace accord has lasted since what, 79, 80, somewhere in that range?
I mean, we're talking almost 45 years. That's eternity.
It's about half as long as Israel's been around.
You're right.
So, I mean,
Legit point.
let's be honest.
Because they're both allies of the U.S.
The
The U.S. holds Israel together.
But we've got nothing happening in North Korea. North Korea was a huge threat towards the end of the Obama administration. Let's be honest. Nothing.
Trump
The
built
only-
Kim Jong-un golf course, and
Yeah.
everything's fine.
Yeah. The only reason, I mean, Russia's, their social media, that can be proven. They tried to influence. If you're falling for the stuff that Russia might be implanting on social media during an election cycle, you're probably pretty gullible.
Yeah.
You've probably sent $10,000 to Nairobi off the promise of a prince giving you his fortune because you're the only heir they could find.
But
But
it is fine. I mean, you can call up here and just tell us that we're wrong, and that's fine. I welcome the call. We're all about that forum.
But when you claim that the president is a racist based on one quote taken out of context that was chopped up by MSNBC, LSD, the left wing,
Right.
I don't even call them media because they are nothing but a propaganda machine for the Democrat Party, is what they've become. They take that one quote out of context, play it over and over and over, and tell you he's a racist because he's calling all Mexicans criminals and murderers,
which he did not
do. And the transcript shows that. And if you actually watch the whole clip in context, you have to understand how people speak and the context of how people say things.
But I'm going to go a step further for you.
That'd be like you saying, he did not say Mexicans are rapists. And then somebody clipping that audio of you saying Mexican are rapists.
Yes,
that's exactly what they did.
That is what happened. And what I want to tell you is, and this is a beautiful thing about Victoria, something I mentioned to that gentleman is, hey, look, you and I can still get along whether we like the president or not. The Latinos that I know in this community, certainly in Texas, I can't talk about California. The Latinos that I know in this community, none of them are victims. I don't have any Latino friends who whine about the federal government. None. They don't expect anything.
And you have some that don't vote for President Trump.
I have some really close friends who will not vote for Donald Trump, and that's fine. But understand, they work. They take care of their family. I mean, we're talking in stereotype here. The Latino community should not gravitate towards the lunacy of the Black Lives Matter garbage. Don't allow the communists. I've been all over Mexico. The communists used to put lots of propaganda up in Mexico, trying to convert Mexico, trying to get up to the back door. The Mexicans down there just said, no, we don't want any part of it. And the Latinos I know here are hardworking, family people. Many of them are much more successful financially than me. They ain't looking for a handout from the government. So it's a totally different deal. There was a time that you might have said, well, there's the whites, and then there's, in stereotype, then there's the Mexicans and the blacks and the Indians over there. Now, in Texas, there's the whites and the Latinos over here, and everybody looking for something from the government over there. Because the Latino friends I have don't need any help from the government. They just need the government to leave them alone. And that puts them in the same boat I'm in.
It's probably a little stereotypical on you.
Well, it is. We're dealing with the big picture.
Johnny Houghton says that gentleman wants to be taken care of. We have a great immigration policy and we'll hand you money, hand over fist, and free health care. So come on up to Canada.
Yeah, well, there you go. Go to Canada. Give them 80% of what you make. And then what you got isn't worth but 30 cents on the dollar what it's worth here. And have a good time.
BJ Nelson says our phone screener didn't get his name.
No, we don't have a phone screener. Anybody's welcome. And look, if you call me an idiot, you've got a 50% chance of being right. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I've been called worse by dumber people.
Steve Kidder says Trump doesn't do anything for me was the point.
Yeah, that was the point. And what's interesting is our listeners of all ethnicities and genders, and I don't think we have anybody that cross-dresses much,
right?
But anyway, they all
on weekends
see it the same way. They're all saying,
James Kerr says historical things are happening with Israel, ruffling the feathers of nations like Iran, though. And that's the interesting part is Iran's not happy with what's going on.
That probably means we're doing something right.
That's exactly what it means.
Tell you who else is doing something right. Every day around 11, Uncle Mutt's Barbecue.
Drive-thru opens up till 8 o'clock in the evening.
Drive-through. Brisket. One thing we can all agree on. Brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey.
It's the best in Uncle Mutt's.
It's the best. Get by all the side dishes. The Uncle Mutt's rice is phenomenal. I love the pea salad. You like the cabbage and the beans, cheese curds, fried spam. You like it all. Get by Uncle Mutt's. If you're going to have a big catering event.
Smoked spam. I'm wondering what barbecued spam would be like.
Smoked. Just smoke it.
Just put it on the pit.
Probably better put it in a Joe wrapper and smoke it. Anyway.
Jeff Fonseca says he's Hispanic and he'll never lean that way.
You're Italian. Quit kidding yourself. He's in denial. I was born an Italian kid, but I've always claimed being Hispanic. Uncle Mutt's, folks, get by there today. Jonathan, Katina Arterberry, take care of you. You got a big event. You want to cater it. That's who Cheryl calls. Great Barn Design, 920-6803. Cheryl will call and handle that for you. You tell her how many people. You tell them what you want. She'll take care. She'll play on the menu. She'll work with the Arterberries and have it all delivered.
Tables, chairs, all that stuff.
920-6803. Went services, went generators, went battery backups, went everything. Solar panels. You're doing a remodel. I wish I had 220 drop over here so I can put another washer and dryer in my heat shed.
You need one
There you go.
just so you can get your clothes done once every 2 weeks.
Right? So many
are in there.
kids. They can do it. Reach out to Wind Services. USA Concrete Coatings. I talked to Elaine Garcia yesterday. Charlie was out. She said they've been super busy, and that
Good.
division of the company, also they do USA Foundation Repair, that it has really taken off. And they're really super busy with a great product. 1 day turnaround. They'll come in, they'll prepare the concrete floor, they'll put down the coating, and then they'll be done in a day. What do you want? Patios, porches, walkways? They can do it all. You'll like it. And of course, don't forget, I said it earlier, I just mentioned it in passing, but Bobby Leon and his family have been in downtown Victoria for 100 years, folks. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Reach out to Chesnick Furniture during this celebration the entire year. 50% off on all furniture as they celebrate 100 years of serving Victoria. And that's what they do. They're not just a store. They serve this community with fine furniture, great service, appliances, accoutrement, Tempur-Pedic bedding. They've got it all. There you go.
Blue Bonnet Youth Ranch raffle coming up October 10th. So you got about 3 weeks to get your tickets.
So Adam Sugar reached out. I think Clint called Adam yesterday. 14-3. Adam Sugar got
On the losing end of that? Okay.
Yeah, he had like whiplash from watching so many balls, and chicks were taking him deep. 14-3.
Offhanded.
Oh, yeah. And
only the guys have to bat offhanded, but the girls were doing it too because Adam was pitching.
Adam's about the most competitive guy I know. Like Adam, everything ends in MMA with Adam. Like if you play ping pong with Adam, it's ping pong / MMA. Because if you beat him, he's going to take you down.
Yeah. MMA pong.
He says Clint Ives is going to take a softball right off the thigh in his next at-bat because of me. I just called it as Clint saw it. I mean, I totally got my stats from Clint.
And we didn't get it. We didn't get a rebuttal yesterday from Adam.
He tuned in late. And then I know what he did is he went back and listened to it because Clint chided him a little bit.
Jeff Fonseca says the 9th batter hit for the cycle.
Right. That's not good. That's not good.
She was also the catcher.
Awesome. Adam, we love you, brother. Good stuff.
Yeah,
hey, and I don't want you folks to feel like it was a controversial Wednesday. It is politics. It is emotional. You should get heated. You should care. I applaud that gentleman for being so passionate about his country.
And having the guts to call us.
It's not easy.
No, not many do.
Good deal. You know what, though?
What's that?
I'm going to tell you something straight up. The conversations that we've had on this show with people who said, I've had it. I'm going to tell you what I think. They've been our Hispanic listeners.
That they have, yes.
It ain't the lazy gringos.
Nope.
True story. There's a lot of lazy gringos out there. They have opinions. They ain't got any guts. Our Hispanic friends will call and say, hey, you're wrong.
Wrong.
I don't like that. And I appreciate you folks very much.
Real quick, how about Ohio high school football players? On last Friday, which was 9/11, they had a football game. They tried to do things the right way. They went to their school administration and say, hey, we'd like to carry some flags out of the tunnel as we go onto the field. They were told, no, can't do it.
So they tried to
what
do
did they
things the
do?
right way. But then what did they do?
Well, then when they were told no, they decided, well, this is where the spoiled brat side of them came out, and they did it anyway. They carried out a thin blue line flag and a thin red line flag. They said to honor those who fell during 9/11, and I think the school was wrong here in not recognizing maybe the date,
right? The
importance of the date, finding a way to maybe take that kid's idea and incorporate it into the game. And I don't know if they did. I don't know enough details,
right?
But it's caused some media coverage in Ohio. It's starting to get a little national traction, but if you don't respect rules and authority, you have chaos and anarchy.
Well, then here's where you and I are consistent. On one hand, you could make the issue about what a cruddy school to not allow these kids to express this emotion at 9/11. That's one angle on the story. The other angle on the story is what a couple of irresponsible kids to not mind the authority of their school. And this is where Ash and I are consistent. Ash and I would be all about, hey, Tate, man, let's do anything that's pro-LEO. Let's do anything that supports first responders. But when the school said, no, we're not going to do that, and I'm certain they had a reason. Well, if we do that today, tomorrow we have to do one for Mao Zedong's birthday, okay? If you're going to have a reason for not doing it, the children need to abide by the rules. Just because we don't like the rule doesn't mean we don't abide by it. And that comes right back into everything that Ash and I tell you every day. You know, if the cop comes up and asks you your name and you're not doing anything wrong, or you don't want him to think you're doing anything wrong, give him your name. Why is that so difficult? Don't
HR Mallard says one of the kids, dad was a police officer, the other one was a firefighter.
Yeah, it
shouldn't matter though.
They probably should have allowed them to do it, but when they said no, you can't do it for whatever that reason was. Now, Adam Sugar says, are they off the team? They kicked them off the team. I guess
I've heard that. Yeah, which I mean, okay, now the punishment might be a little harsh.
But what if they had a sign that said, "What if they ran
kill Trump"?
Right. What if they ran out with that sign?
Kill the president. Yeah, I don't know. Kill Biden.
No, we don't think you ought to do that today. And then you do it anyway. Then you're going to kick that kid off the team, and everybody's going to agree. So it's kind of like we're programmed to be selectively tolerant. If we agree with the cause, let the boys express themselves. If we don't agree with the cause, hang them.
Steve Kidder says civil disobedience, but what are you really? I get that, but what are you really protesting here? You wanted to do something, you were told no. I think the school probably should have had a little bit more awareness of the date.
Yeah. Well, James Kerr says, tell that to the rioters, peaceful protesters. I agree. Make no mistake, Ash and I would have found a way to incorporate those two flags into a 9/11 celebration at a football game, and I think everybody would have cheered, and it would have been over. But instead, it sounds like the school made some difficult decisions that probably weren't ideal. Is that fair? Does that back us out of that? Because I would have said, as a kid, there's no way I would have disobeyed once they told me. If coach said, let's don't do that today. Yes, sir. It was a great idea. I think coach is an idiot, but I wouldn't have done it. So
and then you start looking at it that way. Or is this the outside linebacker that consistently tries to get the guy to chase him down the sideline instead of turning him in where he's got help on tackling? You know, does he? Right. I mean, you know, you start to wonder what kind of teammates they are. If they're that selfish that they had to take that and that they had to go ahead and do it, and apparently sort of, from what I understand, kind of hid the flags from everybody. I don't think there were too many in on it.
Like BJ Nelson says, well, somebody said, what if they would have run out with the Black Lives Matter flag? And the deal is, BJ says they probably would have been praised, and that's probably true. That would be a little civil disobedience, would have gone a long way.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah,
we can surmise, but they were told not to do it, and they did it anyway.
Larry Leahy sums it up. They asked to do it, and the school said no, so that's the end of the discussion. But punishment is excessive.
They kicked them off the team. I agree. Maybe a game.
Yep. Steve Kidder says slap them on the wrist and get on down the road. I think is what it says. Get on with their lives. Yep.
But it's no wonder where we are in society now when you don't think you have to respect any authority and rules that are set.
Oh, it's become trendy. The disobedience of authority has become the new trend. That's how you show that you're an American, because you just don't put up with any authority.
And then try to tie it back to what went on in
Jeff Fonseca takes it to the next level. If they're D1 talent, they won't be kicked off the team.
Right. You got a point there.
Right. If it's the starting middle linebacker, chances are he's going to have a spot, maybe do some push-ups. So, hey, we've got to get out of here. Thank you so much, caller. Anytime. Please feel respected. And we just don't always agree with everybody, and that's okay. That's what makes us all unique. We all get to vote in November. Stay tuned for the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar, alongside Brother Gary Moses.